executive governor of Anambra State, Soludo, has stated that Prophet Odumeje and other people whose structures were brought down must pay the cost of demolition. So Soludo says, we gave the warning, but no one took us serious. Odumeje must pay for the cost of demolition. On Thursday, it was earlier reported that a security post at Mountain of Holy Ghost Intervention Deliverance Center on Onitsha was demolished by men of the Joint Task Force as the structure was built on waterways. It was gathered that the General Overseer of the Church, Prophet Odumeje, attempted to take over the equipment which was used to demolish the building, and in the process of trying to do so, he was manhandled by a Joint Task Force. Wow. Soludo revealed that Prophet Odumeje attended several meetings organized to educate people on why they should break down any structure built on waterways but failed to comply with the government's directive. Soludo says that once they're done bringing down all the structures built on waterways, they will calculate the money spent and send it to the persons so they can pay the government. Wow. So the Anambra State governor, in official writing, Professor Chukwuma Soludo, has said that Pastor Chukwemeka Ohanemere, popularly known as Odumeje, whose part of his church building was demolished on Thursday, will pay for the cost of the demolition. In fact, this is costing us money and the structure should have been removed before now, but they chose to test the resolve of the government. Once we are done with this exercise, we will compile the bills and send them to the persons involved, and they must pay. Genuinely, I'm very confused because you demolished. Let's read this again. So the center, Odumeje's church center, was demolished by the men of the Joint Task Force because the structure was built on waterways. Construction, whatever, maybe that has some of its effects, I don't know. And it says it was gathered that the General Overseer of the Church attempted to take over the equipment which was used to demolish the building, and in the process of trying to do so, he was manhandled by Joint Task Force personnel. This makes sense because there's a video going around of him being attacked by some men, and it was confusing. I didn't pay no mind to it, but I guess it relates to this because that video went around and we're like, why are they literally dehumanizing this man? What will pay for the cost of demolition? So you demolish his building and you're asking him to pay for the damages. Are you serious? I mean, at the end of the day, before even you build structures on whatever, people own their land. So if you buy a piece of land somewhere and someone owns you, but it's like, does the government not understand? I don't understand. If he owns where he's built it on, then I don't think there should be a problem. And I don't think... I'm so confused. Why does he have to pay? This does not even make sense at all. It really doesn't make sense. Let's look at the comments. First, if you must pay back the cost of demolition, you need a slap back, Mr. Governor. So don't do something that would affect you in the future, although you did the right thing by demolishing the buildings, since those buildings were located wrongly, but to pay cost of demolition shows you're bitter over something. You may have a problem. Literally. And I think, again, as a government, you don't just... You see, this is how I'm so behind, because it's an order. It's like, do this, we want you, or else if you do whatever, don't blame us. It's like, you're meant to take care of your people. So if anything, because again, you can't give an order and don't give an alternative, because he owns it. He's built it. So you can say, for whatever reason, you're building a structure on the waterway, give a construction reasons, blah, 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 blah. Fine. You might as well just say, you know what, let's find an alternative for you, and you can move there, and we will demolish this one. You don't, if there was an alternative of where he was going to go, which would have been better, or if they wanted to buy that I mean, again, you know what, let me even look at it, because I look at the picture of the church, and I'm like, is this the land that they're fighting for? I don't understand. Yes, to make it look fair, he says, even other structures they were built on waterway will be demolished as well. But when you're doing things like that, it means as a government you provide alternatives. You provide another center, because you're stopping a place of worship. You're stopping whatever he's doing, which he has a right to do. So it doesn't make sense, because it's like, do you care for your people? Because you don't do things like, you're the government. I don't understand. If you're an independent body, it's the thing. If it's an independent construction company that's just messing around and is in a flood of suits and is a flood of cases, legal cases, all that, and it's just fights, I can understand. But as a government, you do owe it to your people to still take care of them, because you have to. So it's like, a government to act this childish is it's not, I wouldn't say it's surprising, but it's a bit shameful. Your task force dehumanized him and disgraced him very bad. There is a video that did go around saying that. There's a video that went around, and that's what I was mentioning earlier, because I even felt bad for the man, because it's like, what? And that in itself should be a whole suit. I mean, this man should get damages. I mean, he literally has to sue the government, basically, because first off, his building was demolished with no alternative, with no compensation. If there was that, okay, fine. And if there's a time limit and they said, move out of this property, we're going to demolish it, They did that, but you don't provide an alternative, like, oh, go mind your own business. That's your own problem. You're going to demolish it because you built it on. Doesn't make sense. Very childish. And also, he can also sue based on abuse by a government body that's meant to take care of him. I mean, the task force, I don't think their job is to go and physically assault him, which was what happened. And it was a caught on video, so there is evidence for that. He should sue. But then it's Nigeria. If you say, I'm going to sue, it's like you're speaking big English. Nobody's above the law. Nigeria needs someone like you to be the president. What? If you need somebody like him to be the president, we're finished, because this guy would not even care at all. Building structural waterways can cause serious flood. The problem with Nigerians is that they feel they can have their way around. At the end of the day, if the owner of that building was not Odumeje, then it wouldn't have made the news. Let's just be honest. Okay? So, as I said, whatever reason it is, and I said, I don't know what the reason, but someone has given it here, it can cause flooding. Fantastic, great. But what you do is you create an alternative. You say, we need, because this structure is built on a waterway, can lead to these effects, construction, then we would provide an alternative, because again, Odumeje is not the only person or the only structure that's going to be destroyed and demolished. So you're trying to say Odumeje and the others will have to pay the government for demolishing their own property. That doesn't make sense. It doesn't make sense. And it's not like, wait, I don't understand. Since when is the government, well, take responsibility for construction, but what the construction you really need to do and focus on is low income housing for people in your state. Now, that if you're going to do something like that, okay, fine, you can say, oh wow, you're taking construction seriously. But fact is, it's happening to a well-known preacher, a well-known church, a well-known center, and that is why it's making the news. And it's good, because now we may even have innocent people, or basically you'd say non-celebrities or the average Nigerian business person having to pay the government for demolishing their own property. It doesn't make sense. But I think I don't forget to like and subscribe.